Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so I made a tweet yesterday, or last night UK time, on Twitter about this guy, basically calling him out as the, I think, probably most underrated Dokkan Festival exclusive that released in 2021, the INT BROLY. A lot of this came off of the discussion and all the heat that came from Truth's top 10 TUR list that he released yesterday. If you guys have seen any of the discourse on that, we were having a bit of a joke around. Somebody wanted to see Goresh's reaction to the tier list, and Truth posted a screenshot of their DMs of Goresh saying that he's not touching that video, and I replied saying that, you know, you got to appreciate the homie's honesty, and Truth was like, nah, wait, how about you do it? So I might actually do that. Let me know down below in the comments if that's what you guys would like to see. That I'll put a little bit of actual like prep into it. Obviously I'll rewatch it. I'm going to look at a few of the units in game and stuff like that. But yeah, if you want to see me react to Truth's top 10 TURs list, let me know down below in the comments. But BROLY was not in his top 10. I'm not sure if I would say now that I think he should definitely be in the top 10, but he definitely should be an honourable mention. I think if I put my list together, maybe I would have him in the top 10, but I guess if he was, he probably would be 10, maybe 9, but definitely needs to be an honourable mention. So I think this unit is really good. His leader skill, Planetary Destruction or Movie Bosses. Movie Bosses has a ton of leaders, and Planetary Destruction is an alright category. I do like the combination of the two, because it means you can run like a Movie Bosses team and just throw in a few units like Physical Kid Buu or the AGL Kid Gohan, who are like very good supports, make everybody else on the team look really good. But obviously BROLY's main deal is that he infinitely stacks attack and defense while doing immense damage, and then obviously he has a chance to do tons of attacks. He gets a bunch of ki at the start of the turn, so he can pretty much never not super, and he's already starting at 180% attack and defense. He gets 18% damage reduction and an 18% chance to crit. So obviously going as much additional as possible on this guy is probably the way to go. As you can see here, I've got 19 crit and 19 additional and 11 crit. And then he launches an additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super. Then he gets an additional 3 ki and launches an additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super, and extra 18% damage reduction and crit chance within the same turn after performing a super attack when there is a pure or hybrid Saiyan's enemy. So against a pure or hybrid Saiyan's enemy, which is a huge amount of the game, he can super attack 4 times in one turn. He also gets extra damage reduction and crit chance after that first super attack. So he is a unit that functions like obviously better after he attacks, but because he already has 18% damage reduction and like 180% defense, I think he is perfectly viable for slot 1. And then there's his active skill. It can be activated after performing 4 or more super attacks, and it gives him a nice big attack buff and makes him effective against all types. So we're going to jump straight in. I am using him on a pure Saiyans team. We've got a good link partner here from the AGL Namek Goku. 4 links, so it's nothing too crazy, but pretty good link partner for him. Let's go ahead and pick up some orbs here. So the one thing I do see, well, I say the one, there's a few complaints that I see about in BROLY, so we're going to go ahead and address all of those throughout the course of this run through here. We probably aren't going to play all the way to the end of the Vegeta event because it's quite long. I just wanted to show off BROLY a little bit here. So straight away we're getting the double super. We got a crit on the first super attack, and now that extra chance from his passive will have kicked in as well. Look at this. Can we get in this showcase video the mythical quad super turn 1? No, we got the quad attacks, but the 4th one was only a normal attack. But look at that. He almost annihilated him completely by himself. He is left with the tiniest sliver of health. If any one of those later attacks would have been a crit, we actually would have just taken him out completely with INT BROLY. So the thing is, I was discussing this with Minato on Twitter last night about BROLY. I think he can be used perfectly fine as a slot 1 unit. Obviously in turn 1 on difficult content, like if he takes a super attack straight away in slot 1, then obviously that's going to be Not really what you're going for, but the 18% damage reduction is obviously going to help a little bit. But in something like this, in a longer form event, like we saw there, he took a hit in slot 1 before he got a chance to attack. But in these longer form events, the early stages are the easiest ones when the enemy is at their weakest. So he took double-digit damage, and we were just good to go straight from there. And once he's gotten that first attack, or at least first couple of attacks, because remember, he's stacking defense with every single super. So he super attacked 3 times in his first appearance. So we're going to go ahead and see here what he's looking at defense-wise. We also have this version Z Goku on the rotation for 30% extra support. So yeah, he's sat at 253k defense with 18% damage reduction. And then once he super attacks, not only is that defense going to jump up to closer to 300k, but we're fighting a Pure Saiyan enemy, so he's then also going to have 36% damage reduction. So pretty ridiculous. Let's go ahead and get our super here. So this is the active skill condition fulfilled, because we super attacked 3 times on the first turn. So we're going to go ahead and get that 4th super attack here. So when it comes to his active skill, I see a lot of people saying that they think his active skill condition is bad. I think Truth might have said that when he first came out. Now for me, when it comes to active skills, 3.4 million is pretty decent as well for his attack stat here. When it comes to active skills, obviously you want to be able to use them as much as possible. It's part of the fun of the game, like seeing the animations, getting the cool effects that the active skills give. We don't want like an AGL LR Gohan situation where a unit has an active skill and you just never see it. But depending on what the active skill is and what the effect is, I'm perfectly okay with active skills that take a few turns for you to be able to activate, right? Because Broly's active skill gives him a massive attack buff and effective against all types. So in a shorter event, you're probably going to pop it and it's going to be like the finisher, right? To finish off the last enemy in something like Super Battle Road, or if you are using him in a Dokkan event or a like Battlefield stage or something like that, you might not get to using the active skill, but if you do get it there in a shorter event, it's going to be a finisher. And then in a longer event like this, you're obviously going to be able to get that active skill condition fulfilled, like even if it takes like 3 or 4 turns, but you're probably going to save it until closer to the end, because obviously in a longer form event like this, we want to use it on one of the later stages when Vegeta has a ton of health and a ton of defense, especially in the LVE as the example. The second to last phase, the Super Saiyan Blue, is physical, so obviously Broly has type disadvantage. So that's the perfect time to save the active skill for. So if you're not going to be using the active skill into, like in this event until like turn 10 anyway, what does it matter that his active skill condition can't be fulfilled until like turn 5? Because you're not going to use it. You don't want to use it on turn 3. But I do think it is a cool little, like, it is very RNG, and it's very, I think it's happened to me like once. But the fact that he can super attack 4 times in turn 1 and then have his active skill literally ready to go on his second appearance, I think that's kind of cool. Like, it's very rare to see, but that RNG possibility is actually there, that he could potentially fulfill his active skill condition literally on the first turn, and I think that's awesome. So let's go ahead and we're going to save his active skill. We'll keep him in slot 1 here. So no support, he's at 228k defense with, like I say, the 16% damage reduction, and then once we get this first super off, that jumps up to, sorry, 18%, and then that jumps up to 36%. So very, very good. We'll go ahead and do this. And then I think, yeah, we'll just go ahead and grab these for you. We are actually getting through this stage fairly quickly. So we're only going to take a super in slot 1 again. So this comes back to what I was saying. Like, he's not designed to be a slot 1 unit. Like 180k damage. That's obviously quite a lot. Namek Goku we could have put in slot 1 to get the guaranteed additional super if he gets hit. But again, like, he's not really a unit that's made to tank in slot 1. You just kind of want to take those risks and get those hits. But, you know, taking a super in slot 1, definitely not ideal. Obviously, once we get that first attack off, getting that extra damage reduction as well as the extra little bit of defense obviously would help out quite a lot. But when you look at the team and how much HP we have, bearing in mind we're also running double Super Vegeta lead, so we only have a 130% HP percentage leader skill. I mean, the team still has almost 450k HP, so BROLY taking 200k from a super, you know, everyone else on the turn is basically going to tank for pretty much double digits, apart from maybe Super Vegeta when he takes that first hit. And then when he gets his defense buff, it will drop down to double digits. So it's not like he's going to get you killed in slot 1. Maybe in the next phase when we're against the physical Super Saiyan Blue, obviously he would take a lot more damage. But of course at that point he's going to be built up more, so he's got more defense. Because having very high defense is not going to do a huge amount against like type disadvantage super attacks. But then when you factor in the fact that he does have that damage reduction as well, then obviously he's still going to be looking very, very good. So the other thing I wanted to talk about as well, of course, for him is the fact that we, when it comes to link partners, I feel like that's something that can be seen as an issue, because we don't really have a really, really good BROLY for him to be run with for like really difficult content. Because STR LR BROLY, they share the same name, so they can't link. And so Tech LR BROLY is kind of his like really big mainstay like link partner, the one that you sort of, he's your go-to unit that you think of when it comes to you know, link partners. Now eventually he'll get an easy A and he'll probably be really, really good, and then that's going to be really, really good for BROLY. Look at this, 8.7 million for Super Vegeta on the turn where we use his active skill. That's pretty good, isn't it? Like, I'm not saying BROLY's better than Super Vegeta, but BROLY definitely underrated. But yeah, BROLY does actually have some really good link partners. When you look at the units that he shares like 4 links with, not only do we have this Namek Goku, there's a whole bunch of other really good Super Saiyans. I also like, because he's on Planetary Destruction, this rotation with the Vegeta is not bad. They only share 3 links, so obviously it's not quite as crazy, but they're still a very solid rotation. But one thing that I did notice on Twitter that I pointed out yesterday as well is the fact that the new Goku that everybody's raving about on JP, the Super Saiyan 2 that transforms to Super Saiyan 3, in his Super Saiyan 2 form, he shares 5 links with BROLY. So on this Pure Saiyans team, the rotation of BROLY in slot 1 and then that Goku in slot 2, by the time you get later into an event when BROLY's like built up, that rotation is going to absolutely destroy everyone. So we are at now 350k basically defense with no support unit. We do have a full INT rotation, so I think I will go ahead and pop a Whis here just to be on the safe side. Because Namek Goku or the LR in the final slot, if we take a super, that could be pretty bad. I think BROLY would still be fine, especially if he takes the super after he attacks. But I'm a little bit concerned about the LR in slot 3. Mine has 2 dupes. They do have pretty reasonable defense after super attacking, but I don't really want to get supered. 5.5 million with BROLY on the turn with his active skill, no support. And that's just for the first super attack. So then here comes the second one, 5.7. Now, the RNG for his additionals, this is the only time when I think that it can be kind of frustrating, is obviously the turn you use the active skill, not only are you getting a massive attack buff, but you're also getting effective against all types. So you really don't want to be having that be the turn where RNG bites you in the butt and you get like 1 super and 1 additional normal attack, because then obviously that's a waste of that massive offensive boost that you've just given to BROLY. So I do, you know, accept that that is a bit of a downside. Here we got 2 supers and 2 normal attacks, so we actually did do a pretty considerable amount of damage, even the normal attacks doing solid damage to him. And then he dodges the INT Vegeta. Is he going to super attack in the last slot here? Yeah. So we've raised our defense and we have a Whis. So this will probably hurt, but we should live this. How much are we actually taking? 175. Wow. That is actually more than I expected. So we're going to have the support memory kick in here. The Whis is still active, so I think what we'll do is just go ahead and... Well, no... Look at this. What a bad rotation for Ki. Well, we do have a ton of additional with everybody here. So if we do this, then we can go ahead and do this. let's top up our HP here a little bit, grab some extra defense, and then just do this. So we could potentially finish off Vegeta here, depending on whether or not the friend wants to actually get the additional super attack. But yeah, INT BROLY is very, very good. He's on a lot of teams. Now, another thing I see people talking about a lot is, of course, the fact that he doesn't have big bad bosses. So it does kind of hurt him on the movie bosses team, which, you know, that's one of the teams that he leads, so it's kind of annoying that he doesn't really gel super well on that team. But I think a lot of that will be rectified again in the future when we actually get a really good Broly for him to be run alongside. Like, even the physical Dragon Ball Super Broly, they share quite a few links, so when he gets his Easy A, that rotation is obviously going to be very powerful as well. So, but Movie Bosses is just one of his teams. Like Planetary Destruction, obviously there's a bunch of Saiyans on there, but he's a Pure Saiyan, so he's on Pure Saiyans, he's on Legendary Existence, the actual Namek Goku team, which is a really, really good team for him as well. I just think he's really, really good, and he's super underrated. And somebody did mention on the tweet that I made, which I do actually think is a pretty reasonable point, the fact that it's not necessarily that a lot of people are underrating him, even though a lot of people were. But for Global, the problem was he came out for Saiyan Day, which was March 2021, and then he didn't come back on a banner, apart from the New Year, like Step Up, until Super Vegeta came out in January. So he wasn't even available to pull for, like, most people for, like, 10 months, which is a pretty long time to, like, not have access to a unit. And so a lot of people just, I guess, didn't know how good he was because they just didn't have him and hadn't had a chance to pull him. So I do see that as being a pretty reasonable argument for why maybe as many people as I would like don't talk about how great he is. But hopefully this video will have served as a pretty good example of how good he can be. Like I say, I don't think he's like the best TUR in the game or anything like that. As I said right at the beginning, even if I was to make a top 10 right now, I don't know if he necessarily would make the list, and if he did, he probably would be at 10, but he absolutely should be like an honourable mention. I just think he's really, really good, and he gets a lot better in the future. Obviously for Global, coming up next, we probably have the AGL Transforming Trunks Dokkan Fest, and the side banner unit for him is the physical Heart Virus Goku, who is really, really good, and he also shares 5 links with Broly, and he's a really good slot 1 defensive unit. So in something like Pure Saiyan's Super Battle Road, or Extreme Super Battle Road, you could literally go ahead and put Heart Virus Goku in slot 1, and then put Broly in slot 2, and then that of course mitigates that issue with Broly not being quite as good defensively before he super attacks. And obviously all the enemies in Pure Saiyan's Extreme Super Battle Road are all hybrid Saiyans as well. So that of course means that he's getting that extra damage reduction, super attack crit chance. So with Heart Virus Goku being able to block in slot 1, he can absolutely pop off in that event if we want him to. So I think we could probably get the finish here if we go ahead and do this, because Goku will get a guaranteed additional super. We've got the Whis active to protect Super Vegeta at the end here, so the combination of Namek, Goku and Broly, we could probably go ahead and finish this off here. So it didn't take quite as long as I was expecting. I could have stopped the video a little bit earlier, but we managed to get through this fairly quickly, and that's because obviously Pure Saiyans has a very wide roster of very strong units. Obviously having that new version Z LR Goku on the team to buff everybody's really nice as well. But yeah, hopefully for those of you who maybe haven't seen quite as much of the INT LR Broly, hopefully this is kind of like a good example of what you're missing. I think he's really, really good. Here we go, like 4 links active. No support on the rotation, 3.7 million. Now obviously if he was a unit that was only ever doing 1 attack per turn, then 3.7 is not necessarily the best, but you know, multiple attacks, even those normal attacks, were doing pretty solid damage with the crits. And then of course Super Vegeta, of course he doesn't get the additional, because with his guaranteed crits that additional super would have been GG right there. But then of course we get GG'd by Blue Evolution Vegeta at the end. So very unfortunate RNG there, but you know, No, it was nothing to do with Broly. If Broly was in slot 3, he would have survived that super attack. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think of INT Broly down below in the comment section. Hopefully you guys agree that he is a very solid unit, definitely in consideration for being one of the top tier TURs, even if you don't necessarily put him in your top 10. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.